Chapter 31. Mary Boland. Christine's absence was at first a relief to Andrew. Then he began to ask himself what she was doing, and to look forward to her return. Although he told himself that he was now a free man, he had the same lonely feeling that he had experienced at Aberalour when Christine had gone away to stay with her aunt. He met Ivory, Freddie, and Deedman 2 or 3 times. He also drove to the Chiltern Hills to see Stillman's new hospital. He and Stillman became good friends. But his friendship with Stillman did not take away his loneliness. In the end, Andrew telephoned Frances Lawrence and asked her, "Would you care to drive into the country and have dinner with me tomorrow evening?" Her voice comforted him. "That would be very nice." The next evening, they drove to a small country town where they had dinner at a hotel by the river. "We have known each other for quite a long time," Frances remarked, "but this is the first occasion that you have asked me to come out with you. Are you sorry that you came?" She smiled. Does your husband know that we—" She looked up. "Don't you understand? Jack and I are good friends, but we—" She stopped suddenly. "Let's dance," she suggested. They danced. It gave Andrew a strange feeling of pleasure to hold her in his arms. When they returned to their table, he asked awkwardly, "Why have you been so kind to me?" His question seemed to amuse her. "You are very attractive, and what I like most about you is that you do not realize it." "No, do be serious." She laughed. "It's hot in here. Let's go outside and look at the moonlight on the river." They walked down to the river and sat on a seat. She looked at the moon shining on the water. "What a beautiful night," she said. He kissed her. Her lips were warm. She smiled. "That was very sweet, but very badly done." "I can do better," he whispered. He felt awkward, ashamed. He wanted to take her into his arms, but then a shadowy picture of Christine's tired, sad face looked up at him from the water. It worried and annoyed him. He kissed Frances again. "You took a long time to do that," she said. "And now, Doctor, I think that we should go home." They drove back to London in silence. Andrew was not happy. He hated himself. He tried to dismiss Christine from his mind, but he could not do so. When they reached Mrs. Lawrence's house, he got out of the car and opened the door for her without a word. "Come in," she invited him. He paused. "It's very late, isn't it?" She went indoors without answering, and he followed her. 3 days later, Andrew sat in his West End office, feeling tired and miserable. Suddenly, Nurse Sharp entered. "There's a man to see you, Mr. Boland. I've told him he'll have to wait." "Boland?" Andrew repeated tiredly, as if he had never heard the name before. Then suddenly his face brightened. "Con Boland? Show him in, nurse, at once." "But a patient is waiting to see you." "Never mind about that," he shouted. "Do what I say." Nurse Sharp, annoyed at being addressed in that manner, gave Andrew one look and went out of the room. A minute later, she showed Boland in. "Why, Con!" Andrew called out, jumping up from his chair. "Hello! Hello!" shouted Con, walking quickly forward to shake hands with Andrew. "Heavens, Munson, it's nice to see you again. You're looking well?" Well, this is a high-class practice." He looked at Nurse Sharp, who was watching him with scorn. "This nurse of yours refused to admit me at first." Nurse Sharp turned and walked out of the room. After she had left, Con's manner changed. "Listen, Manson," he said. "I've come to see you about my daughter Mary. She's ill. Llewellyn has been attending her, but, well, he's useless." Con suddenly became angry. "He says that Mary has tuberculosis and cannot be cured. Listen, Manson, will you do something for me? I know that you're a successful doctor now, but will you examine Mary? I have such confidence in you, and so has Mary." Andrew was worried. "Mary, poor girl. I'll do everything that I can for her. Everything," he promised Con. At that moment, Nurse Sharp entered. "5 patients are waiting to see you now, Dr. Manson," she informed him. Andrew took no notice, but continued to talk to Con. He invited Boland to stay with him for a few days, and Boland accepted his invitation joyfully. Con's cheerful spirit helped him to forget his troubles with Christine. When she returned on Friday, Andrew took Con with him to the railway station to meet her. He was afraid to meet Christine by himself, after all that had happened, and he hoped that Con's presence might make things easier for both of them. "Hello, Chris," Andrew called out cheerfully as she got out of the train. "Look who's here! Con! He's staying with us, Chris. Did you enjoy yourself?" Christine was surprised at her warm welcome. She had feared that she might not be met at all. Sitting in the back seat of the car with Con, she talked excitedly. "Oh, I am glad to be home again," she said when they reached the house. She took a deep breath. "Have you missed me, Andrew?" "Missed you? I most certainly have." After a few minutes, Andrew, who still felt awkward, said that he must visit a patient and hurriedly left the house. "Thank heavens that's over," he said to himself as he got into his car. "I'm sure that she has no suspicions about Francis. That's all that matters at the moment." While he was out, Con had a long talk with Christine about Mary's health. Christine felt very anxious and advised Con to telephone Mary, telling her to come to London at once. When Mary arrived next day, her thin face and body gave Andrew a shock. He ordered her to bed and examined her chest. 15 minutes later, he returned to the living room looking very worried. "I'm afraid, Con, that Llewellyn was right. Mary has got tuberculosis," he told him. "But don't worry, the disease is in the early stage of development." "You mean that she can be cured?" "Yes, but she must go into hospital for special treatment. There is a doctor at the Victoria Hospital, Dr. Thorogood, who has made a special study of this disease. I will ask him to treat her, and if she comes into my hospital, I can watch her progress." "Manson, you're a true friend," said Con. On Saturday afternoon, Mary was admitted to the Victoria Hospital, and Con returned to Aberalour. "How nice to be together again, Chris," Andrew said, after he had left. He sounded sincere, but for some reason Christine did not believe that he really meant what he said. She went upstairs to her bedroom and cried to herself, "Oh, God, when and how will this end?"